We are at MADpd 2020, the Emergency Learning Edition, and I am Melinda Lula, working at home to help students learn math at the secondary level. Feedback drives learning. In the effort to engage all learners in this challenging learn-at-home period, we can use digital tools to foster meaningful connections and provide the essential feedback needed for students to truly learn. Our teaching focus can shift from grades to learning. Let's first look at teacher.desmos.com.
Well, hello. This is your homepage for Desmos, and you can see there are activities already suggested for you if you want. But let's start by going over to where your name is. So you've signed in maybe with your Google account, and I want you to click on Desmos Labs. I'm going to encourage you to activate all of them, but specifically the written feedback, because we're going to get back to that later today. So first of all, we're going to go over to the custom area on the left-hand side of the screen. And then on the right-hand side, it says new activity. So if you wanted to create your own activities, you may do that using the new activity option. Call it what you like and start building. So put your title. Today's April 28th, maybe that's what it's about. And decide what kind of things you want in there. Do you want a graph? Do you want a table? Do you want to have the option for them to give you a sketch? How about a picture or just a note? Or if you want student input, you'll choose the input. You also have choice with multiple choice, but you could also do where one answer is correct, but also where multiple answers are correct. And then in the more section, you have some other options here. We might look at card sort, ordered list later today. So this is where you get started. Every time you want to add a new screen, you click on New Screen and decide what you want on the screen for students to see.
Now let's explore self-checking possibilities within Desmos.
So I wanted to share some self-checking activities with you. So I've pulled up one of my own from my custom section, and I'm going to look at page 9 to show you what a self-checking activity might look like. So I've included it as a table in this case, and I'm going to input what the slope is 2 and input the y-intercept 3. And you can see that in the correct column, my no turned to a yes. So it's self-checking. The students can get the feedback right away. You don't even have to look at the work. They just know. So again, let's try another one. -3. And the y-intercept is 1. And it changes to yes. To give you an idea of how you might accomplish something like that, I highly recommend taking someone else's. So for instance, if you wanted one that looks like this, you can copy it using this button here, copy this screen, and then paste it into your own activity in the activity builder mode. So now I'm going to go look at the activity builder mode, and I'm able to just paste it into here when you're building your own activity. Now, the actual computation layer happens right here with this little gear, and Desmos is wonderful. They offer in-services or webinars. But I can click on the gear and it'll tell me how that code is being evaluated so that that table can mark yes or no. So it's really kind of cool. I'm really new to this, but I've been able to make use of other people's activities and learn a little bit of code just to get some small jobs done so that when I prepare an activity for students, sometimes they get immediate feedback and other times they get more personal feedback.
Another way for students to practice valuable skills is through the card sort or matching activities that are available in Desmos.
So to see card sort in action, I've got a student screen up here, and I've already done 2 groups. So really what you do is you sync the questions into each other. So this question here, x minus 2 equals 3, I know I need to add 2 to both sides is my first step. And then they sync in. I'm going to pull it up here. After I add 2 to each side, it looks like this. And then that means that x will equal 5, so that will go in here. So I can rearrange them to make them look good, but it really doesn't matter in the check. So this is a card sort in action from the student perspective. What happens then with the teacher is you get a screen that looks like this. So you can right away tell which students you'll need to talk to. So the ones like this have not started, and others are finished or have some correct but need to finish it. So this is a great view on how they can do that. And then of course, when you check on them, you have the option to give feedback in the feedback bubble. And that is the card sort. When I assign these Desmos activities to students, there's no better way to learn than for them to receive feedback and then respond to that feedback. So now I'd like to show you how that works. Okay, so how exactly do we give feedback? So if you go to your homepage in Desmos and check out your history section and choose the activity you're interested in giving feedback on. So looking over here, I have my students anonymized so that you can't see their real names, but that's okay. So we'll look at Pierre de Fermat and see how he did on these activities. So I was asked to graph these and did. So now to get to the feedback, it's at the very top here, this little conversation bubble, and it will open on the same screen. So you can see the feedback listed here, and it tells you which screen is which. So we're currently on screen 2 as here, and there's nothing highlighted for this, so I hadn't given feedback on that. On page 3, she said the lines get less steep, but actually they get more steep, so I can just remind her of that. And I've had a conversation with her already about this. So. And then you continue to go through, and when you're on a page that she's been on before or that I've given feedback on before, this is screen 4, you can see the screen 4 feedback is here, that her x equals 3 and y equals 3 cards belong in the other 2 groups. And then every time you go to a new screen, if there's feedback, it will come bold over here. So in this one, what does the n number have to do with the position of the new lines? So how is y equals x plus 2 different than y equals x? So hoping that she'll make a connection between the y intercept and the line. So just asking probing questions. So my goal then is for students to return to their feedback, go to each screen and see what information that they need to update. Also, I give, if people have it all right, then I give them, thumbs up or a happy face or something like that, just to make them feel good about what's going on and that they are indeed getting it all correct. So this is how we give lesson feedback. In this time of distance learning, emergency distance learning, it is probably more necessary than ever to have checking in pages for your students just to find out how they're doing. A second tool I would like to share with you today is called goformative.com. It is a great opportunity for you to create valuable assignments that students can finish, and you can give lots of feedback.
To create a new formative activity, you would click on New Formative. Add your title here. So this is my new assignment. All right. Then you click on the add, and you have a number of options to choose from. I like the short answer and the multiple choice, because then the computer can mark that for you. If you, in math, you want to see their process, then you're going to probably want some show your work questions. So then you just choose what you want. So what would be a first question? What is 1 plus 1? Yeah. And then the correct answer is 2. And so now the computer will mark that question for you. If you wanted to do a show your work question, you could see below. And then I'm going to edit the background, and I'm going to bring in an image from my photo library of something that they can work on. So
So if I'd say I wanted this question here, and I'll just bring that in, and then the student will have the option to put that in, and then obviously they'll be able to show their work with the pen, which is great. So this is my new assignment. Now to assign it, you would just choose which group you wanted it to go to, and then last, you could look at your view responses for that. So you'd be able to see which students had accessed it, and that we'll talk about that a little bit later. The view responses screen gives you a quick visual reference as to how your class is doing, and on that screen you are able to provide feedback, valuable feedback where the students can continue their learning. To view the progress that your class is having on a particular assignment, you go to the assignment that you're interested in. So I'm going to go to assignment 4. This was the assignment that was given to my grade 11 class. And I'm now going to review the responses. I'm going to hide the names. And I'll go to see how it's on question 1 right now. So everybody answered 3. And now we're going to go to totals, because this will give all the responses to all of the questions. So there are 9 questions. Questions 1 through 6 were automatically marked by the program or by GoFormative. 7, 8, and 9 I need to mark. So in order to do that, or to give feedback on, in order to do that, I click on the number and I look at what they've done. And if they are correct, I'll give them their 2 points up here. Or if they're not correct, I'll give them some information here. So I'm going to say check your formula again. And then send that information to that student. I can do all of the question 7 by just clicking on this arrow button. The down arrow is going to go through each student one by one. And you can see I've given feedback before to this student. They got their 2 points, but I had given them some feedback. It's interesting too that where I give the feedback, so where the thumbs up is, they also have the opportunity to respond to my feedback. So I'll just go through all of question 7. And that one was marked, yes, 2 points. And this one, the student had made a mistake, and so I had given some information on that and given some feedback, visual feedback, because I was able to draw on their feedback for them. Correct. So this person, they did not divide by r-1, so they need to check their work. Now, the way that I have done this, I've allowed all of the students, I keep this assignment open until a particular day, and I give them their feedback, and they have the opportunity to come in and correct their work based on that feedback. So they really have an opportunity to improve their achievement because they're actually correcting their errors as opposed to just taking a doc and mark. So it is my goal that the students are learning the material and responding to the feedback, or by responding to the feedback. Thanks so much for participating today. I really enjoyed sharing Desmos and GoFormative with you. Enjoy the rest of the MADpd conference. Have a great day.